I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. We're going through all 11 classes today, talking about the class cards, ranking them from 10 to 1. We're already down to Rogue, and we're chugging along. We're using 0 as the worst, 10 as the worst, 1 as the best. These are my opinions, as always. And we're talking about Rogue, and Rogue got the nuts on stuff. It was hard for me to tell you which card was the worst in Rogue, because there's really not a worst card in Rogue. The worst card that I was able to find for Rogue was the Scourge Illusionist. And even Scourge Illusionist, which is a 4-mana 4/4, has Death Rattle and a 4/4 copy of another Death Rattle minion in your deck to your hand, and it costs 4 or less. I mean, Death Rattles for rogues that are basically in that 4 slot are not a lot, but there's some other stuff that's a little bit less. Let's see here. There's gotta be more difference than that. I cannot believe that there's only that few difference. I'm supposed to laugh here. You've got some cards that are just for 4s that for difference they can get some first of all, you're still looking at mines, because mines are still in the field, and I mean, mines for 0 are ridiculous. Mailbox Dancer. Not Mailbox Dancer, Loan Shark. Sorry, Loan Shark. Loan Shark for free is ridiculous. I mean, there's already a Death Rattle road that's kind of running out there in the world. And there's some stuff that's endgame stuff, like the mech that's an 8-mana that gives you taunt and gives you 8 armor. That now becomes 4. I mean, there's the Treasure Guardian. The Treasure Guardian costs, 0 now. Playing a Treasure Guardian isn't the worst thing in the world. The Burning Alkalite costs 1. These are cards that you can see coming into play. So, and again, this is like the worst card in Rogue, because there's not a lot of Death Rattles to really pick from, that really help you out with this particular card. But, if that's the worst card, that's saying something. And that's why number 9 is also here, which is the Rotten Rodent, which is a 2-mana 1/1 undead beast that reduces the cost of all Death Rattles in your deck by 1. Again, the issue is just that right now, Death Rattles, there's not a ton that are out there. I mean, you have some that you can get along the way. There's still stuff like mine and stuff like that, and even the Elemental has considered to have a Death Rattle. but, you know, there's not a ton of death rhinos out there. There are some ones that if you get, yeah, they're great. That's why you'll sometimes see Rogue use Smoke Bomb. Any deck that uses Smoke Bomb, you know, now has a bigger ally. They can play it without the Smoke Bomb because that costs one less. And I mean, the only reason that this is, you know, low is because of the fact that it's low attack, low health, and you want to play early game. By the time you get to mid game, end game, this really falls off because you want that buff as soon as possible. So the next one up for us is number 8. Number 8 for us is, which is the Infiltrator. Infiltrator is a 4-mana, 2/5 poisonous that says, if a friendly undead died after your last turn, deal 1 damage to a minion. So it's a 4/3. It's a 4-mana that has 2/3 that basically can come out straight off the bat. And kill one thing on your opponent's side of the board if an undead died last turn. There are some undead in Rogue right now, you know, that exist. The Corsairs can see play in pirate decks. The Bootstrap Stuck in the Air is also, you know, sometimes sees play. And there's other stuff that's undead. Of course, the Amalgam, as everybody knows. And there's definitely stuff that's coming out for in this new set that's going to be undead. You know, there's a lot of undead, like your eggs. Your foul egg is a good card for this and stuff like that. And the reason that this is so low is because right now there's some undead that you can pick from, but the undead pool isn't that graded. And if you don't have an undead before this comes out, or an undead that dies, when you do the battle cry, you're kind of missing out on that free kill. And this doesn't have taunt on its own or anything else like that. And 4 mana, 2/5 isn't the greatest stats at that point. Next up for us is number 7. Number 7 on our list, if the page will load, that'd be great. Is the Ghoulish Alchemist. And the Ghoulish Alchemist is a 2-mana, 3/2 that says your concoctions cost 0. These are concoctions, there's 5 of them. Whenever you get 2 concoctions, they mix together and they still cost only 3 mana. So if you get bubbling concoction, it costs 3. When you get the second bubbling concoction, it'll mix together into what I call an elixir. I'll be calling them elixirs just so that nobody gets confused about what I'm talking about. But they're still considered concoctions. And they automatically happen. You don't have to click them, drag them. They'll just automatically happen. As soon as you get the second one, they mix together, but they still cost only 3. So basically you're trying to get the elixirs as much as possible. And this is maybe the worst elixir card out there. And that's saying something, because this is not a bad card. This is just the worst one for elixirs. Because the next one up for us, because it doesn't give you an elixir on its own or a concoction on its own. It just makes your concoctions cost 0 and your elixirs cost 0. So the next one up for us is the Vile Apothecary. Vile Apothecary is a 3 mana 2/4 undead. At the end of the turn, add a random concoction to your hand. It puts 1 concoction in your hand. You're always trying to make the elixirs instead of the concoctions. The concoctions are better than the elixirs. This gets you 1 instead of 2. And as soon as this comes out, this is going to have a target on its back. If you can somehow make this live a turn, you'll have that concoction. That's basically what you're looking for. So if we can live a turn, you get that elixir. That's what you're looking for. But the problem is, because it's at the end of the turn, you can't use it until that next turn after you get it. So next up for us is going to be number 5. Number 5 for us is going to be the Shadow Demise, which is considered a no mana spell, or a flux mana spell, I should say. Because the mana cost of this changes every single time you play a spell. Because this card basically says, it's a legendary card, and basically it says that each time you cast a spell, transform this into a copy of this. So this is always going to be whatever your last spell was. So this adds a 3rd spell to your pool on spells that would normally only have 2 of them in there. And that is a big boon for anybody who wants a 3rd spell of anything. But the reason that this ends up being 5 is because it's not a good spell on its own. It's a good spell if you have good spells in your deck. Because this has to be a copy spell that you already are playing, already using. So that way it ends up right smack in the damn center, is because it's as good as any other spell that you're already playing. Almost literally, that's how it's written. Next up for us is number 4. Number 4 for us is going to be the Concoctor. And the Concoctor is a 1 mana 1/2 that says Battle Cry, add a concoction to your hand. The concoctions are good. You want to get elixirs by combining 2 concoctions together. They're still called concoctions, I just call them elixirs to make it easier for you to know which one I'm talking about. This is early game, you throw this down, you get a concoction, you maybe throw something else down, at some point you get a 2nd concoction, you make the elixir. The elixirs are good. Next up for us is the number 3 card, so this is our bronze. The bronze one for us is the Potion Master Putricide. Potion Master Putricide is a 2 mana 1/4 undead that after a minion dies, add a concoction to your hand. This is your minion, their minion, any minion. This doesn't have to be friendly. So if you take a 2/2 and you're running into another 2/2, you get 2 concoctions, which automatically makes you an elixir. The only issue with this particular card is you have to be at a point where you can basically trade in and then you're trading in so that you can use the elixirs down the road. I mean, yes, you can get concoctions off this, but again, you're looking for the elixirs, and basically, you're banking later turns when you play this down. And if you don't have a board, this doesn't work, but again, that's a weird caveat to just throw on this. I mean, you're not throwing that down if you don't have a board. Next up for us is our Silver Star. Our Silver Star is the Potion Belt. The Potion Belt is a 2-mana spell that says add 2 concoctions to your hand. So basically this gives you an automatic elixir. You play this on turn 2, you get an elixir on turn 3, you throw the elixir on turn 3, you're giddy. It's that simple. Anytime you can leave in 2 mana, and then you have the Potion Belt, you're just going to use it. It's not hard to leave 2 mana on the board, and this doesn't even leave 2 mana on the board, it's just 2 mana that you're banking to play a ridiculously good ability next turn. And if you're later on in the game, you can play this, get the elixir, and play the elixir, because you don't have to wait a turn to use it. You just need enough mana to justify all the parts of it. And the number 1 card for us, with no surprise, is Ghoulish Strike. Ghoulish Strike is a 1-mana rogue spell that says deal 1 damage, combo, draw a card. Rogue likes to draw. This is cheap draw for Rogue. This might be just used to start a chain for them, but if they have anything else to start the chain, they're going to use this right after they start the chain, because this is the cheapest draw. This is basically almost the equivalent of like a coin to a certain degree. This would be like a coin that didn't give you a mana back, almost. I mean, Rogue likes draw. This gives them draw. They like stuff to make combos. This is going to help them make combos, either start a combo off, or just be if it's not the start of a combo, any other part of the combo, this is a ridiculous part of that. 1 mana, draw a card. There's usually like some sort of like bad part of 1 mana, draw a card. Like deal 2 damage to yourself, or, you know, lose a minion or something like this. This has a plus side. Yeah, you have to combo it, so it's basically 2 mana, draw a card. But for Rogue, that doesn't matter so often. Because you can prep, you can throw this out. So Rogue got a ridiculous amount of stuff. They got so much stuff, and I'm not sure what they got that's bad. So thank you all so much for watching. We just got a couple more to go. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.